YouTube. What up, YouTube? We live on these YouTube streets. Take a puff. A couple things to talk about. Yeah, I know. I ain't had the blunt ready. Damn straight. I roll the blunt when I hit the live. That's what you're supposed to do. You ain't supposed to be ready. I'm already late. Shit, I think I'm about almost 2 hours late. But I'm here. Let's roll this up, y'all. Had some crazy shit happen here in Pennsylvania. Some dude cut his dad's head off. And they was chasing him. He barricaded himself up the street here. I'm gonna call the guy's house, whose house he get barricaded. Where he barricaded at, I'm gonna call the dude up and let him tell the story. I'm ready to call him up. As soon as I roll his blunt. It's on world news too. The dude cut his dad's head off and went live on YouTube and was showing the guys the head of his father. Allegedly. I don't know if it was YouTube or wherever he was showing it. But I had this helicopter kept circling my area, right? All day. I didn't know what the hell was going on. It was that shit. The dude that cut his dad's head off in Bucks County ran out of gas here in my hood. He went to the cemetery up here where I used to work and stole 2 gas cans. Put gas in his car. And they caught him down the road somewhere. A couple miles away. Well, what makes a person cut their dad's head off? That shit crazy, right? I think this blunt is roll. Let's call him up and see if he's available. Let's call him up and see if he's available. Let's turn that off.
Hello?
James.
Yes.
What's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, we live on YouTube. We want to talk, calling you up, talk about that guy that cut his dad's head off.
That's the crazy stuff.
Listen, it's on it's world news right now. It's all over the news everywhere. Hold on, make sure I can hear you. Say it again, bro.
I said it was all over my backyard.
I know. I was telling before I called you, I was telling YouTube that the guy bunkered down in your yard. If you want to tell your story, you live right now.
Like I told you, then Guardian was out there with my son, and earlier there were shots fired down by the dairy down there, down by where they had them fuel pumps,
Yeah.
and then so I went out and moved the car. Thought, okay, well, cops come get them. I ain't gonna have to worry about it. But then the helicopter was flying around, so we were, that caught our attention for a while. And then it kept flying, and it got dark, and the light, they were using that spotlight, and they kept going around just the four houses where, from where I live, in my shed back there.
Yeah.
And my dog herded my son back into the house. I mean, he just picked him up and carried him and basically shoved him in the house. And then he was going after the door on the garage, in the shop, trying to get in there. And the dog don't act like that. Whatever. At that point, we understood something was in the shop, and the helicopter kept flying or more and more at that, so I got that strobe light out. So, if they were looking down, they could spot where the shed was. And then I hooked that camera up to the remote control target stand. It basically, I can move the target around by remote control. And with the light, basically set it in so that I didn't have to expose myself. If he shot it, he shot the phone.
Yeah.
Then there was still something that I think so I went in on. I showed you the picture. I'm licensed, so at the point I seen a gap where in the wall, going out, and we had that curtain there, and then I showed you the picture of his silhouette.
Yeah.
And, behind the curtain, and where the reflection from the motion detecting light was shining off the gun. And then I showed you the picture of him, and you could see the receding hairline and facial hair.
If you would have, I think if you would have shot him, you would have been a hero.
No, man, look, you don't understand the responsibility of taking a person's life.
Well, you didn't have to kill him. You didn't have to kill him. Maybe.
I could see there was a person there and something was in his hand, but you got to look at how the law would look at me.
Right.
Are they going to say it's just he made sure he had a deadly weapon? Were you sure it wasn't just somebody hiding back there, because of the hell? There could have been all kinds of stuff.
But they also going to say,
what's that?
They also could say that was a man that just cut his dad's head off. And you got a family.
Yeah, that's true, but I didn't even know that was going on.
Oh, man. Right. Okay. All right.
I had no idea what the hell was going on. I mean, we had that shooting rink. I mean, it was just down the street right there, but that's not unusual. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
So usually when we hear gunshots, okay, whatever.
Right.
But then, like I said, when that bird kept flying around with that strobe, with that spotlight down there, then I realized something's not right. Something's in the shed. Something's. And then when they got right overhead with that light, I figured that out before I just let them run.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you remember I pointed out that I know why he was there, because that big tree.
Yeah.
It was the only spot that he could hide under that would just be completely damn dark.
From the helicopter.
from the helicopter. Yeah, but I think at that point, I think the helicopter was realizing, hey, wait a minute, there is a spot down there we can't. And I think he tried to decide he was going to use the shed to hide. It was right in the dark spot. He could get in it.
Yeah.
But the dog, you ain't getting away from that dog. And I warned him. I said, that's 150 pounds to rip your ass up. But I didn't want, I ain't gonna let my dog get hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
So. Because he would have been way open.
Yeah.
He couldn't go down the alley to back, where he came from. He couldn't go back up the alley because that's wide open. So he had to go by that what is that, hairdresser or whatever there, because it's still dark, behind that one.
And your shed was like perfect for him to go into.
Yeah, it was just convenient because there was a section of it that was dark, just dark enough that he could, boogie into. And I mean, my neighbor has cameras, but he has signs on the fence to tell him. So all the dude did is probably look up and realize where the hell the cameras were and stayed out of it,
Does your neighbor got him on the camera?
What's that?
Does your neighbor have him on the camera?
No, I mean, because the camera's he has that damn thing in my backyard.
Oh, yeah.
He don't care about anything about other than what's going on in my backyard. So, I noticed this morning, that place you were talking, you worked at where the headstones were, right?
Yeah.
He usually has 6 cans of gas cans. And then I took a picture. There's 2 of them were missing. The 2 center ones, which makes sense. You go grab them. You're going to grab 2 of the center. You ain't going to stretch your arms out and try to grab the 2 outside ones. So he grabbed the 2 middle ones and went up to the car wash. But
so he got the gas and put the gas in his car and made it to the Indiantown Gap.
It looked like the car was up at the car wash the whole time, probably in the bay.
Yeah.
And that's why the helicopter couldn't see it. And I'm pretty sure he probably went through the cemetery there. Because, when you were talking about the crematorium, he gets right across the street. He's in the cemetery. He turns his lights out, and he ain't going to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we could check this out. I could play what Law and Crime is talking about it right now.
They pinged his phone. So I imagine up here when he was in that bay of that car wash, they probably couldn't ping his phone when he was in there. But they pinged him out close to Indiantown Gap right after I posted. See, I was posting this shit, right? I was actually making a joke of it. I said, I think somebody's in my damn shed, on Facebook. And then I decided, well, I'm going to drop something down in the wood burning stove here and see if that'll irritate him enough to get out. I wasn't going to be no hero to catch. I wanted him away from my family. That's all I care about. You know what I mean?
Right. Let me see.
Last thing I want to do is kill a man in front of my son.
Yeah, right. I feel you.
So I just made a decision, let him run. I couldn't really see his face, but when I showed you that picture from when he's behind that curtain.
Yeah, it's on. You know what Law and Crime is, right?
Yeah.
It's on there now. I'm gonna play a clip of them right.
Man, I still haven't paid attention to it. It's just, this goes on around here all the time. So it's not. I mean, we haven't had anybody cut someone's head off, but I mean, every time we turn around, there's homicides right around us. So go ahead, man. I'm listening when I'm ready.
I'm
You know, I don't care how pissed
Here it
off you
goes.
are.
Here it goes. This is what
You
it
know.
says. It just came out 2 hours ago. Man behind dad showed severed head in YouTube video during unhinged rant. Okay, YouTube. This is fair use. Is in full effect. We are talking about a crime that happened here in our area in Pennsylvania, and the guy that did this crime was in James's backyard hiding. James is a well-known bounty hunter around here, and he went to the wrong backyard, but he's lucky. The guy's lucky. James spared him. He's lucky his son was out there. Let's listen to this audio. Fair use. Let me turn it up.
His own father, and then holding up the severed head in a video that he posted online that got thousands of views before it was finally.
My bad, y'all. Hit the button.
Taken down. We're analyzing everything we know so far about this case with retired U.S. Marshal Art Roderick and former Judge Elizabeth Scherer.
Let's look at him, y'all, real quick. This is the guy that did it.
Yeah, listen.
Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law.
Fair use is in full effect, YouTube.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right off the bat that not only is this incredibly disturbing case,
Can you hear it?
this is a tough one just to even talk about. Police in Middletown Township, Pennsylvania, that's in Bucks County, they responded to a horrifying 911 phone call on Tuesday night. A woman reported around 7 p.m. that she came home to find her 68-year-old husband, Michael Moan, decapitated in the bathroom of their home. Yes, that is what we're talking about. The couple's adult son, 32-year-old Justin Moan, was the prime suspect in the death of his father. He had apparently posted a video of himself on YouTube holding up his own father's head. That is what we're talking about right here. That 14-minute video went up on the site about an hour before the 911 phone.
It was a 14-minute video. After he killed his dad, he held the head up on video. And the video was up for about it was up for about 2 hours before they took it down, I think. He's gonna say it. What was he gonna say?
Did he say anything when he was doing it? Why he was doing this stuff, or he was just looking? What?
I don't know. I think he was saying something, but they took the video down. I'm gonna continue playing this real quick. Hold on.
Call. It had close to 5,000 views before it was finally removed hours later. The video was posted to YouTube with the title "Moan's Militia: Call to Arms for American Patriots," and in the video, Justin Moan said that his father had been a federal employee for 20 years, which Moan believes made him a traitor to the country. In the video, he states, quote, "Violence is the only solution to the federal government's treason. And this is the head of Mike Moan, a federal employee of over 20 years. And my father, he is now in hell for eternity as a traitor to his country." It's reported that Michael Moan worked as an engineer with the geoenvironmental section of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers District. Law enforcement captured Moan about 100 miles away from the crime scene at Fort Indiantown Gap Base, home of Pennsylvania National Guard headquarters. He had apparently broken into the base with a gun. He was still armed when law enforcement confronted him, but authorities say he surrendered peacefully. No one was harmed. He has been charged with murder in the first degree, abuse of a corpse, and possession of an instrument of crime with intent. According to court documents, Moan was arraigned virtually very early Wednesday morning, and his bail has been denied. Let's break this down. I have two very special guests. I'm joined by retired U.S. Marshal Art Roderick and former Judge Elizabeth Scherer, who presided over the Parkland School shooting case. She's now in private
Fair use is in full effect, YouTube.
practice with Conrad and Scherer. Great to have you both here. Again, I say this so many times, but I wish it was under better circumstances. What a case. Art, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk about how he was captured. So we know that authorities in Middletown Township, they had pinged Moan's phone. And they did this because they realized that his father's car wasn't there. He was missing. Right. They track him to Fort Indiantown Gap. They alerted the local police department. They find out that he jumped the fence to get into the base. They chase him, they arrest him. Thoughts on how they were able to capture him?
Why'd he go to the base?
Yeah, bizarre case. I mean, this is standard cell phone tracking that is used by just about every single agency at this point in time. And when you look at this individual's background, obviously this is a narcissistic sociopath. To commit a crime like this, I mean, law enforcement to respond to that scene and that poor mother coming home, that had to be one bloody mess. Even if you clean it up, still, you know, it's difficult to decapitate someone with a machete and a large knife, which were found near the body. But tracking this individual, I mean, he left enough obvious clues, not only the video, but relatively easy to track him via his cell phone. So he wasn't very sophisticated,
and he cut his head off while he was alive.
And in his getaway plan, but obviously he wanted this to be known to the world.
By the way, one of my favorite things about being a host on Law and Crime is how passionate our audience is. You guys don't just sit back and watch. You engage. You leave comments. You give us feedback. You make your opinions known, which I can't tell you how
We
much
also
I
share.
appreciate.
Fair
One of the
use
most
is in full
popular
effect.
opinions is how much you love our police body cam videos. And I'll tell you, I agree. I think they're fantastic. They're unpredictable. They let you see firsthand what's going on in any given situation instead of just see you there. And Judge, I'm going to get your perspective on this because you've clearly presided over cases with disturbing details and disturbing defendants. I mean, as a former government employee yourself, let's talk about
This guy
alleged
gonna get the death
motivation
penalty.
here. I mean, I mentioned in the video, we've come to learn that this defendant is a self-published author. His book titles include.
Hey, Fort Indian Town Gap is Dauphin County, isn't it?
That's Lebanon County,
Oh, so he's in Lebanon County prison right now. Then.
most likely, unless they took him back to Bucks County.
Yeah, right. That's where the crime was committed. Right, he'll come back there.
Yeah, they'll take him back to wherever the crime was committed. Jurisdiction.
He's in Bucks County right now.
Uh-huh.
Revolution Leaders Survival Guide: How Schools, Workplaces, and Social Norms Kill the Genius Inside All.
So Bucks County's what, about an hour away from us?
Yeah.
Going towards
I'm going by looking at the timeline now, and I want to go over that with you, so we're not taking up too much time with listening to that.
No, this is about over. It's only 18 minutes for this.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna continue.
All of us. The second Messiah, King of Earth, which he says is fictional, but based loosely on his own life. The Punishing. And then a pamphlet called America's Coming Bloody Revolution. Let me just add this too. He's also a singer, posted songs on Spotify. Many of the songs, the writings, the YouTube videos, they're just rants against everything from the LGBTQ community to Black Lives Matter movement, President Joe Biden, to immigrants who are coming into the country illegally. I mean, what do you make of that?
My first thought is you don't just wake up one day. This guy's in his 30s. Is that right?
32, yeah.
He could have been a serial run into Walmart and just shooting people. He could have did that too. He probably had that in mind too.
You don't wake up one day in your 30s, you're low, 32, and just decide to do something so heinous and cruel, like cut off your dad's head. I wonder if there were other things that were leading up to this, that's my first thought, or undetected crimes that he may have committed. Because like I said, usually somebody doesn't just go off the wall. One day they wake up at 32 and completely lose it and start brutally killing family members. So my concern would be whether or not he's done.
He didn't kill the wife,
and to what extent.
The wife found the husband.
Just adding to that, Judge, my understanding is the Middletown Township Police Lieutenant Beanie came out and said other charges may be filed. What are we looking at there, do you think?
I mean, it could be that he escalated up to murder, and this is the first time he's committed murder. But I would have a hard time believing that he's never committed a violent type felony prior to this incident. Because to take off the head of your own family member, I mean that's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything much worse. And I cover a crime show every day. This is one of the ones that unfortunately stands out. You talked about the crime scene, Art. Let's focus on the crime scene. So the Bucks County detectives and the Middletown Township police officers, like I said, they found Michael Moan's body in the bathroom. Blood all over the place. You had mentioned the machete and the large knife found in the bathtub. There were bloody rubber gloves that were in the bedroom. And that's where, and I apologize again for saying this, but the father's head was inside of a plastic bag that was put in a cooking pot. Now, I tell you right now, that's not the first time I've heard that, unfortunately. Crime scenes like this, walk me through what you make of it, and walk me through how difficult it is for law enforcement personnel to actually canvass that scene.
Yeah, that is the difficult part. I mean, unfortunately, law enforcement comes across obviously different violent scenes on every call that they get. This is very unique. The fact that you've got an individual that decapitated his father. I agree with the judge. I went to look at this individual's background, try to do some.
I don't like his ass.
It's very odd that this would be the first violent offense that this individual
I would
did.
punch him.
I couldn't even find a parking ticket
I would punch him
in his
so hard in his face.
So when you look
Just remember, Edward Kemper did the same thing to his mom.
at his writings, you
Who?
Edward Kemper, he was a serial killer.
Oh, he killed his mom?
Yes, he put it in the front yard so that about looking at the window, so that because he said that she always wanted people looking up at her.
Damn. That's crazy.
accounts. Obviously, this individual had some major issues when it comes to the federal government. Espousing this right-wing stuff.
I just don't like this guy's
on the
face.
internet. And when you roll this back to the crime scene, this is what you got.
His face bothers me.
And Judge also brought it up. Something that must have triggered this individual to commit this crime on this particular day at this particular time. So usually there's a triggering of that occurs here. But you know, my thoughts go out to the family. Has to put up with this. This is a horrible situation for anyone's family, and obviously law enforcement coming upon that type of scene, and having to, go through the process that we do every time they come across a crime scene. That's a difficult process for law enforcement and for the CSI.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
And talking about his past, Judge, we've learned he's been in and out of court, or at least tried to be in and out of court. He had several legal battles in civil court, didn't get very far. He sued the federal government for, quote, negligently and fraudulently inducing him to borrow money for college, knowing that it would be hard for him to pay it back, as he claims, as a graduate of Penn State. He is an overeducated white man, can't pay back his loans. There was a recent filing in 2023. The judge threw it out, said there's no legal standing.
Damn.
Imagine if these cases were brought.
Sounds like the left got pissed off because Biden lied to him.
Shit, he tried to get him. He tried to get him real good.
Those kind of cases.
He seems like wants to be the center of attention. He's a narcissist and wants to be, whether or not it's a legitimate cause of action or not. It seems like he wants to be in the middle of it.
The butt bandit gonna get his ass now.
In fact, this is probably part of his plan.
Booty bandit gonna get him.
Otherwise, why go on YouTube? Why go on YouTube and flaunt this type of heinous crime? My hope is that there were no warning signs.
Fair use is in full effect, YouTube.
Because that would be an all too familiar scenario when people are basically telling you in no uncertain terms that they're going to do something bad, and commonly, myself included, you think, oh, person's just talking, it'll never happen.
I'm just sitting here, James. I'm sitting here. Check it out. Just think if you would have just said fuck it and blasted his ass, right? They would be talking about you right now. They would be talking about you right now instead of him.
Yeah.
Yep. They would be talking about you right now.
But my hope is that we don't find out.
What do you say?
Yeah, the whole thing afterward now, after thinking about it, kind of just makes me just not even, I don't know. People are fucking nuts nowadays. You know that, brother.
Yeah.
that there were,
Yeah, it's crazy.
clear warning signs.
He
That
definitely went to
should
the
have
wrong
been-
house though.
Should have been
But he
looked
got
into
lucky.
on the part of law enforcement or others.
This Moan case is awful. That's a given, but it's important. It's important to talk about. And the truth is, we're able to tell stories like these. We're able to bring you this information and analysis because of the support that we get from our partners. And that is why I want to call out one of our great sponsors. Or click the link in the description and pinned in the comments.
That's a defense that rarely works. There's very rare circumstances. Even if you're mentally ill, you have to be in basically a psychotic episode of a certain period of time, and you have to. There's a whole lot of criteria that needs to be met. It seems to me that the planning that went into this, and the planning both before and after, would contradict a defense of insanity, which would be a mental health defense. It seems to me that the way that he carried out the murder, then took steps to put the head in the bag and then leave it and then do a video on it. A psychotic episode that I'm familiar with does not last that long. That's like a 2-hour ordeal, and I don't think that this is gonna meet that criteria, in my opinion.
And Art,
with what I know right now.
Yeah, and Art, I mean, okay,
Jesse. Jesse, a lot of times too, with these types of individuals, in my experience, I'm kind of surprised he's not on somebody's radar. Generally, when you have an individual that files a lot of cases, there generally follows on to that a threat to a public official of some kind. So if I was with that PD, I'd be checking with the U.S. Marshals, with the county, find out if he's threatened any judges or any other public officials, even check the Secret Service to see if he's possibly on their radar. But this type of individual usually will follow on with threats to public officials.
And let me just throw that back to you, Judge. I mean, in a position like you had, were you ever concerned about something like this? Have you ever seen anybody in your courtroom like this espousing kind of these beliefs and thoughts about workers of the federal government or anything like that?
Most of the time, when they're doing this, they don't actually believe it. They're just saying these things to get attention. Right. And that's what I found. People they're just doing whatever they can to get somebody to pay attention. And even in court, I'll frequently have to tell people like this, sir, it's not your turn. It's somebody else's turn, and you need to wait your turn. And the continuous interrupting, and usually that is not a sign of mental illness, because even mentally ill people can control themselves and don't just shout out and start making, allegations and threatening public officials. That's not clear indications of a mental illness. Usually it's just I hate to say this, but a sociopath or narcissistic behavior, and it's all about them.
Art, let me finish this up by focusing on one concern that I have. Obviously, I have a lot of concerns about this case, but the YouTube video, right? So YouTube, in a statement, they said, quote, "The video was removed for violating our graphic violence policy, and Justin Moan's channel was terminated in line with our violent extremism policies. Our teams are closely tracking now to remove any re-uploads of the video." That is my concern. So,
but they'll take them to another platform, not YouTube.
I am concerned.
It's going to go to the dark web and everything.
For our listeners, knows that our message, I'm using it in quotation marks here.
There's some sick fuckers out there that want to watch it.
It was up there for a while. What would your concern be as a law enforcement?
That video will get a lot of views.
Disseminated.
This one won't, but that one
as
will.
we all know, once stuff's posted on the internet, it's out there. Even though there's only
I gotta change the
can be reposted.
The headline of this video.
Unfortunately, it's out there right now, and I'm sure there's been a lot more than 5,000 views at this point.
Oh, it's terrible to think about.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't think anybody should ever watch what he posted. Judge Scherer, Art Roderick, thank you both so much for coming on, breaking down this case, giving us a way to understand what is a situation that's hard to understand, but really appreciate it. Thank you both.
All right, that's that video there. Yeah, man. That's crazy he was in your backyard like that.
The whole thing it got us to the point here in Harrisburg that nothing faces us anymore. You know what I mean? there's not a day where we don't have gunfire going off, especially over in Europe.
Did
You know,
did anybody come
And-
talk to you?
what's that?
Did the police or anybody come talk to you?
No, I have no reason to talk to them and stuff because the only thing I can, is what I showed you is that whoever was behind the curtain, the silhouette matches exactly his profile. His hair, the facial hair, his build, and whatever he had in his hand.
Did you see
But
the,
I mean, to sit there and say, I mean, I showed you by showing his picture to you and that silhouette. You can see his face clearly.
yeah,
That I mean, but that's still. I mean, I don't know, but it's obvious that U.S. Marshals. And, I have a lot of respect for them. They've helped me out a lot on some cases. But the fact that they were pinging his cell phone and not the helicopter kept flying around this general. I mean,
all day,
all day, right?
and at nighttime.
And I even blew that off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The gunshots didn't mean nothing really. I mean, even down where they were, because that dude got killed right there on the corner just a couple years ago. Shot right there, and he came right in the neighbor's foot.
Did you get to see the
So-
car that was at the car wash?
Yeah, so the car must have been up in one of the bays of the car line. One thing I'm only seeing is that for the helicopter, they must have been pinging them there. And that dairy where the gunshots were first, I thought first he was shooting up the street. That's why I posted it on Facebook that somebody was shooting, and I said, well, I'll wait until he relays and I go move my car because I didn't want to have to pay another insurance policy for a window in there.
So he was shooting
Yeah.
at the helicopter.
I think so because the rounds weren't coming up the street. There was no police or anybody like he would have been police. But the only thing that was that helicopter was kept at that time it was flying straight lines. It wasn't circling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was still daylight. It was just getting dusk. And that's when you started hearing it lower and lower and lower. The sound of it. It was getting loud because it was getting lower over the Harrisburg area.
He must have came in off of I-83.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I don't think he wanted to be seen, so he was going to try to probably take gas from wherever he could without being seen.
He probably think he could blend in the city because there's a bunch of people
I
in the
think he
car.
knows this area.
Yeah, he probably knows somebody.
I'm pretty sure he knows this area because for him to know to come up this way to the Harrisburg Dairy
Mhm.
and that those pumps were there, he has the general idea of this whole area. Okay, if he left out of that car wash and cut through the cemetery, then he knew exactly that he could get over there on Progress Avenue and jump on either Linglestown Road or 81 there,
Even though
But
they
what's
said,
that?
go ahead. I'm my bad. Go ahead.
Well, one thing you got to understand is if he was heading back that direction, I don't know why he would try to go back, but that's not unusual, that if he realized he could, so he would maybe go home. I'm not going to read his mind. That's stupid. But it's been known before when they panic or when they realize or a situation happens where they almost got their house killed, they try to go back, and then that could have been going home and barricading himself in his dad's home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're taking 81, they're split at 78 and 81. So he had to have known that state police would have stopped stick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And be looking for him. So the only way you're going to try to bypass that you're going to have to try to cut through the gap. The only problem is they put fence up now. It's not an open base anymore. They put them gates. So that probably stopped them there. From what I understand, that they had already at that point picked up this king on his cell phone.
I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was his dad's cell phone too.
Yeah, somebody sell it
Or his dad's car. That was his dad's car.
I know they picked it up outside the gap. Okay, a distance between here and there, and then they picked it up again on the gap. Okay, so he must have had the phone on.
He probably wanted to get caught when he jumped that fence. He knew he was gonna get caught. Then
I think he was he was in an area where it's supply. Okay, when you look in the photos on the news, you'll see the military vehicles in the back. Those aren't combat, but those are for moving supplies and that. So the fact that I've already told you that there in the alley, he took 2 gas cans from that where the those things were made.
the cemetery.
Okay, but he must have been out of gas, and so he was desperate. He wasn't going to go up the house.
Oh, you're talking about
up.
he didn't take the gas can from the cemetery, but where they make the tombstones at.
No, he took it from there in the alley by my shop.
Yeah, I know
You
you're talking
know,
about.
the back garage there.
Yeah,
That's they're always stacked there. That way they have them ready in the morning.
mm-hmm.
But either I'm pretty sure what the problem was is he was running into nothing but diesel. You know, he wasn't finding gasoline. If he poured diesel into his car, and mixed it with any, then that thing would have ran like shit, most likely stalled one by the time it got to the gap also. You know, determines how much fuel was in, but
So he must have found some gas.
Had gas in it.
He must have found some gas somewhere.
They run them heater things and then fuel. I don't know. They blast, you know, they heat blast them down the stone.
Mm-hmm.
The headstone.
Damn.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
But see, what I'm saying is, Al, you know, that's between the car wash and my shop. That's lit up, and he's got cameras on him. You know, if he's going to steal fuel to try to, you know, and that he's going to go in all them down there. The dairy is not lit up. You know, the only place he could hide from the helicopter is under that tree back there in the alley, because there is nowhere else he could have, you know.
If he had,
in my shop.
They caught him with a gun, right?
Yeah, you seen that in that picture of him behind the curtain or that silhouette?
Yeah.
You can see the reflection off of something shiny, and that was coming from the motion detector light out in the alley.
Yeah.
He was shining down on something in his right hand, and it was making like that tar or that star type gleam where it bounced off a different direction.
Yeah, you
But
could
you
have.
notice the other dot in the picture was my light. You know, I had it back in my firearms in front of me. It was in the step. But you can see the circle from the light was that center of it. And, you know, I pointed out to you where the open neck, you know, where you could see the V-neck or whatever.
Yeah.
And then his facial hair. I mean, you can literally see that distinctive hairline. You know what I mean?
Listen, he could have home invasion somebody. He could have kicked somebody's door in and held them hostage in their house with that gun.
You know, see, the whole thing is I wasn't caring about trying to capture him. I didn't even have my handcuffs on. Okay?
You know?
And I just had my firearm, you know, my personal carry weapon and stuff. And my son was just in the house, not very far away. His mom was in there with the dog, you know, and I was trying to keep the dog away from him, which is not easy. The dog started ripping stuff apart. He won't stop, you know. there was a threat, so he just, and then,
He could have shot your dog.
I couldn't see him very well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was dark behind him, and I had the light, and that damn curtain. At first, if he wouldn't have moved, I wouldn't, and the dog wouldn't have shifted position to where that side of the building, I wouldn't have known he was, you know. But see that gap in the wall was only probably about a 1.5 to 2 feet where he wedged it open to get out. And it looks like he, in the silhouette, where you see that when he's behind, he's slender. You can see from his shoulders that they're kind of narrow. You know, there's no muscle. They just seem narrow. You know, and so I'm thinking, damn, man, he squeezed through that, you know, wall like that. And then I didn't know if he was still there because I'm like, okay, the dog's still going crazy, and the helicopter is now, you know, so I'm thinking, okay, I got the strobe out there, so maybe they see like something gleamed. I told him, just run, man, just go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured at that point, if he ran, you knew where he was going to go up that alley or that field, or where there was no way that helicopter would miss him. But they did somehow. So he must have waited just right when they were heading south to circle to run up the alley. But if you could hear somebody looking, and then the German Shepherd, 4 houses up, he was going absolutely ballistic. And then I noticed there was a mattress leaned up against their garage fence, and it looked like somebody had climbed between the mattress and the fence, like a little teepee type thing.
Yeah, try to hide.
I think he was waiting for the helicopter to go over then, and then he crawled out, and then he would have ran about, I don't know, 20 yards to the gas can there, and then it's dark. I mean, it's just dark until you get up to Parkside. And then that little grassy area on the side of the house runs up behind the car wash, and that is just pitch black. And there were dogs going off everywhere. You know, but the thing was is that the police probably, I don't know what the local police were doing, where they were, you know, staying, but the helicopter seemed to be mostly right there, was pinpointing on my house in that area. You know,
check it out. I came out on my porch to look at the helicopter, and it shifted, and I knew it was looking at me. I guess it was because
he flew over your area for a while. You know, the area's not far from your house.
I know it because it must have seen movement on my porch.
Yeah, they must. Cause they probably had the IR and stuff.
Then they came right in front of my crib, real slow. And look, I looked straight at them.
Yeah, and by the time it got dark, they were probably noticing that circles started getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yeah, it did.
Down by my place, you know. Yeah, they were picking up on something, but he may not have had his phone on him. But it might have been in his car or whatever. You know, he damn sure didn't run. I guess he said he had his dad's car.
Yeah, he stole his dad's car.
Know what? I'm gonna find out what make and model that is, because I was taking pictures, you know, down to Derry, but I doubt he would have parked down there. I think he walked it. You know.
Yeah, he probably seen all them trucks and shit down there. Figured it would be a gas can down there.
Yeah, but that's decent.
So what he did,
a huge tank.
So what he did, he parked at the car wash, walked down through the alleyway at your place, and discovered.
Yeah, it would have just been getting dust at that time. Because the picture I
hold on one, James. Okay, James.
Yeah, when I actually, like, when I posted that, I was, you know, I was posting it on Facebook that, hey, you know, the helicopter's still overhead. I took a picture of it and how tight they were circling around my house, you know. And, you know, my dog ripping so I posted my dog was trying to rip down. So the whole time I was messing around out there, I was taking pictures and posting. And what I wanted is that way somebody, if anybody else was watching, they could see what was going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, I hooked that phone up and ran that target stand through there. And that way, it went by remote control. I could control it by the remote from outside the building. I didn't have to be inside.
Yeah.
And I could see where, you know, I could see a lot, but that thing couldn't bend. You know what I mean?
Right. And
So,
was it loud? Could he hear it coming? Was it loud?
No, that thing makes no noise at all. It's electronic. It may be like a worm. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the dog was barking, so like you wouldn't have heard it anyway. You know.
Yeah, you didn't want it.
So
you didn't want your dog to get hurt or anything like that.
yeah, I didn't want the dog. I threatened to set the dog, but you know, but and then I was posting. That's okay. I'm gonna do something to this. You know, if there's somebody in my shed, I'm gonna mess them up. So I still had some hot coals in the wood burning stove.
Yeah.
And that's the only area I could see the shadow. But like I said, the target stand won't bend one way. It only bends the other way.
Oh, you don't have a light in your shed.
I only have a certain visual. You know, I'm probably about 4 foot, maybe.
You didn't have no light.
4.5 feet straight ahead.
You don't have no light in the shed.
I had a light on the target stand.
Oh, okay.
So, but it was not much. I didn't want him to have thing. I wanted total thing. The light on the target stand was bright, so if he was in, it would blind him. Okay, and then the strobe, that thing is also blinding, and it'll distort you. You can't see what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I had, like I said, I had this. I had that little stinky thing. The wood burner from the outside was the pipe stuck out of the building. You know, the wood burning stove pipe.
Right.
And whenever that hit the hot coals in the wood burner, it made basically like a skunk in there, okay, but a little nastier. And then I waited for a little bit because, you know, I didn't want to walk in that. So I waited and I didn't see any movement. I followed the target stand for a while because the target stand had the big steel, you know, but basically it would be
so you
my
did
protection. You know that.
So you did encounter
And,
him. You did
that's
encounter
when I noticed that the door going out, it was, you know, jammed open, like it cracked open, like they forced it open, and that's when I decided, okay, and I hit him with the bigger light. And that's when I decided I better put something in my hand, you know. And you know, there's a lot of things that were going through my mind at that time. I was worried that my son wouldn't listen and come running out the back door. I was worried that my dog would bust through because he was trying to still rip the shed apart to try to get at him.
But you did encounter him though, right? You encountered him, right? Like you seen
What's
him?
that?
You actually seen his ass though, right?
Oh yeah, he was. I could tell there was a person there. Okay, but I mean, at that point, you know, there was no way for me to know if that person was scared and just hiding in my yard. If it was one of the locals stealing something out of my yard, they don't deserve to get shot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no reason at that point. There was no way for me to know that helicopter was after what was standing in my yard because, like you said, you were standing on your porch and it picked up on you.
It did.
Okay, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So at that point, I have no idea if somebody just decided, you know, oh, I'm gonna get some cans out of the trash can here. You know, I mean, I got people come in there and they steal the aluminum, you know, from the side of the shed, but they don't deserve to be shot. You know what I mean? Or ripped apart by the dog.
Right.
I just wanted to scare 'em, you know,
Right.
keep them away from my family. And I told him, run, just run, dude. You know, and then I could tell from the sound of things that the dog ran to the other side of the fence where the other gate is, and that was heading toward the house. And then I could hear Sebastian, the German Shepherd, and I mean, the way his bark wasn't normal, it was mean. It was like he was warning. He was just going off, and I could hear the chain from the deck that he was yanking on. You could hear that chain just slamming, like he was trying to break that damn thing, you know. So that told me that somebody was too close to that fence, you know. And then I noticed this morning again that mattress was leaning like at an angle against the fence. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, if he crawled in there, the helicopter wouldn't have seen it. All he had to do was wait, you know, and then boom, there he's running again.
Right.
He seems like he's not that old, but you know, like maybe in his 30s, something like that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna end this live. I'm gonna end
All
this
right,
live
man.
right now, but we can finish talking about it tomorrow if you want.
All right.
I'll have more, like, get some more information about it, whatnot.
All right, man.
Because it's still fresh, and then see what you can get up to talk about it. See what, because you can probably get more information than I can.
Yeah. Like, well, you know, I got other issues we're dealing with that security down there, that other problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll talk about that on a different live. Keep them separate.
Right on.
All right, brother. Thanks for tapping in.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'll talk to you later then.
Okay, yeah. All right, y'all. That was a guy that encountered the guy that cut his dad's head off here in Pennsylvania. This is a news story. I just figured I'd do a real quick one about it. Fair use is in full effect. I'm going to keep the video up. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. Oh, yeah. Protect your neck.